Hello YouTube friends. Today I'm going to show you how I built this beautiful shaker style pantry cabinet for our home. It's not an overly complicated project building it, however it's the first one or the first project in the new garage setup that I have, so I guess that makes it special. And coming up with the design, I tried to go for both aesthetics and functionality. That's why you see the two drawers in the middle with the cupboards above and below. That gives it nice symmetry and just easy to look at. And on the flip side, from the ergonomic standpoint, everything, the door handles, the drawer pulls are all centralized, so we don't have to bend over or to pick it, to open the doors and stuff like that. And there's a nice toe kick down there. So these are the things that I considered when coming up with the design. And for the material, I used 3/4 inch plywood for the carcass of it, and all the rails and styles that you see and the custom built door hardware and the drawer hardware, all of these are maple that I had in the shop. And the center panels within the the door frames and the drawer frames, those are 1/4 inch plywood that I used. And dimension wise, you can see I've tried to make it match the existing cabinet at 7 feet height, and the width is 32 inches with depth of about 20 inches. So it holds a lot of volume. You can see what we put in it. I'll just show you what's going on here. I got 2 shelves and also system 32 millimeter shelf hole system there, so the shelves are adjustable, and it holds a lot of stuff here, you can see. And the drawers, they're rated for 100 pounds on each drawer, and it's all 3/4 inch plywood again, so heavy duty stuff. And I've also included the soft closing mechanism, so it's kind of a nice touch. So these are the key details about this cabinet. But now let's go to the fun part about how I built it. The first step is to trim off the factory edge from the plywood. Then I set up the parallel guides and use them to cut the sections that will become the sides of the cabinet. An advantage to using the parallel guide is the ability to get repeatable cuts without a need to remeasure and mark. Once both sides are cut, I then trim them square to the height of 7 feet using my MFT setup. The next task is to cut and assemble the toe kick that will level and support the cabinet. My version is not the traditional toe kick where it's part of the cabinet carcass. Instead, I'm building a separate platform that the cabinet will rest on. Here I'm ironing on some edge banding to hide the plywood, and I'll trim it to size. This piece will fit on top of the toe kick and is what the cabinet will be screwed onto. Once it's all secured, I glue it up tight on the Bessie system. Next, I did some off-camera action where I cut the shelves and the top and bottom of the cabinet that will be installed between the two sides. You'll see me using my domino joiner on most builds. However, pocket hole joinery, dowel jigs, or dado joinery are some of the alternative methods. Okay, so now I've done all the dominoes on the shelves. Same with the main carcass. That'll be on one side. However, now I need to do the same holes, and they got to be aligned so that the shelves are going to be horizontal. So I'll just transfer the lines onto the plywood edge using my saddle square, and once I have these lines drawn up, I'll then take my second plywood piece and clamp it tight and square onto the one I just scribed. Once that's done, I can retransfer the lines onto the second plywood and continue making the domino holes for the shelves, top and the bottom of the cabinets. After drilling the identical domino holes on both plywood sheets, it's time to assemble the cabinet. However, I cut all the domino holes in a tight setting, so it takes a little bit of lining up, but as you'll see, it all goes together nicely. So here I have the cabinet assembled. There will be cupboards in the bottom, drawers in the middle, and cupboards on the top. Now it's time to resaw the maple plank so I can use it to make the rails and stiles of the cabinet. I then plane them smooth and start cutting grooves in them to fit a 1/4 inch plywood that will be used for the center panel. Next is to the Capex with the flagstop for repeatable cuts. I tried to do the grooves on my table saw and that didn't turn out very well because it's not very accurate on the table saw, and so instead I went and got an undersized 1/4 inch bit, which is about 15/64. So it's just under a quarter, should fit that 5.2mm plywood nicely. And I've been cutting grooves and I'm on my last piece now and it's looking nice. The grooves are all consistent. And what I did was because I joined them with a domino. So there's a domino hole and then there's the groove bit that's gonna go. So when this comes up, we'll join in such manner. There we go. So it's gonna be nice and consistent, and I can put my 1/4 inch piece in there, being able to put the domino in there so that it kind of holds structurally, and that's the plan. So when cutting the groove on the router table with the undersized bit, I have to do it in several passes to maintain accuracy and safety. Once all the door frames are ready, I then lay them over a 1/4 inch sheet and look for the best looking grain pattern that will make the core of the doors. I initially did a rough cut of the cores using my multi-tool, so here I'm cleaning it up to fit the door frames using the track saw. By cutting the center panel 3/8 of an inch wider than the door frame holes, I can slide it into the groove for a great fit. Next I get the drawers ready. Here I'm cutting another 1/4 inch groove to it so I can get another plywood in the back of the drawer. Here I'm marking the center line of the drawer to aid in the installation of it. It's nice to have a good set of layout tools. Even though it's expensive, I really like the Woodpecker brand. When installing drawer slides, I like to pre-drill before installing the screws. Here I'm marking up the cabinet side for the drawers. Then I use a 3/16 shim to get a small offset and attach the drawer mechanism to the cabinet. Attempting to attach the drawers while the cabinet isn't fully assembled was difficult, but the parallel clamps help. I then had to resaw some more maple for the drawer face frames. Next is rinse and repeat the repeatable cuts on the Capex with the flagstop. Once the face frames are ready, I then route out 3/8 of an inch to mount the 1/4 inch plywood center panel on the drawer fronts. Here's how the drawer fronts looked once installed, and I'll repeat the same for the bottom drawer. As you can see, I also applied iron-on edge banding off camera for the whole cabinet and the drawers. Next, it was time to install the door hinges, so I used my layout tool to find the 35mm mark and then drill the 20mm hole while keeping my drill perpendicular. I then prepare the 32mm hole on the cabinet for the shelves and hinges. I'm using the 2-position jig, which is awesome for mounting hardware, and drilling a 32mm hole for shelves. So these are for the hinges, and then these are for shelves. For my drawer pulls and my door pulls, I'll use the same maple, and I'll just kind of make it nicer. I've already split this into two using the bandsaw, and I'll do the same and kind of go from there. I was able to give them a nice cove detail, so when we're opening the door, it'll be nice and easy. So next I'll round over the edges and round over a little bit, because I did 2 different passes just to get that wider cove, as you can see. Dust extractor on. Didn't need a whole lot, but now I think it's a nice curve to it, and I want to do a little bit of round over on the edges just to get that sharpness off. You can see it made it nice and round, just a little 1/8 round over. Drawer handles, and then the door handles. Once it's all ready for assembly, I apply Osmo 3043 finishing oil to bring out the grain pattern. This is the pantry cabinet pre-installation. As you can see, I've added the dominoes and applied the glue. However, to aid the glue in drying, I've also drilled out pocket holes into the cabinet to help to secure these joints. The pocket holes will help the glue set in as they apply a clamping force once the cabinet is assembled. Once I got the cabinet glued up and assembled, I was in for a big surprise. The wall is not straight. As you can see, there is a 40mm gap at the top. However, as you go down to the bottom, that gap disappears. And to install this beautiful cabinet with such a gap behind it would be such a shame, so I have to find a solution. My solution to cover this up was to cut another piece in a wedge shape, whereas it starts with off nothing, and as it goes up, it goes to about 40mm long. So that way I can just nail this wedge piece in the back and cover it up, and hopefully the 2 different plywoods won't be that noticeable. I was pretty disappointed about it, but I had to come up with a solution, and it turned out very well. And here it is after I installed it. I can't even tell the wedge is there, so I think this was a successful recovery of the project. The final step in the cabinet build project is to install the custom drawer and the door pull hardware that I made. I'll get the screws to poke out just a bit, and then just get it aligned. Little. I think it looks beautiful. And you can see they're nicely centered on the cabinets. And I'll do the same for the doors, now that we got the drawers. Next, I'll put a countersink from the back. Once I attach the 1/4" sheet on the back side of the cabinet, then I get my shelf holes, my shelf pins, not shelf holes. Put these in, and I think I'll go 3 down from there and do the same thing in the back. This is why that System 32 is really nice. With the shelf pins there, now it's time to put my shelf. Okay. Perfect. Now, that's how it looks. Pretty cool. And this is a wrap for this cabinet build project.